There is a reason why Australia exists, why New Zealand exists. There's a reason why globalization has literally taken over the planet, where you can be in Thailand or Cambodia and all the concessions are owned by Starbucks or McDonald's and so on and so forth. We know who this country is, and we know the background of those who operate in the shadows of this country, and we know their ability to send violent people across the world. What do you do to gain the attention of the government? It needs to be clear, it needs to be strategized, and it needs to be unequivocal.
No, you're doing it.
I will repeat again. If you say, and if you don't understand that this benefits you at the end of the day, it might not benefit you today. But as it was once said, a journey of 1,000 steps, begins with one step. If, for example, we say, and I will repeat it again because I want to keep repeating it, this is a government that doesn't listen. This is a government that uses predictive programming and certain predictive words. So they'll say, for example, austerity, and you think, oh my God, yes, we actually need it. You ask most people what it means, they don't. They can tell you how it makes them feel, they can't actually tell you what it is. They don't understand, for example, when the government says that we are not going to spend X, Y, Z because of this. But at the same time, they can create money out of thin air and call it quantitative easing and then charge you interest on money that they created out of thin air. Who does that benefit? So this is their system. I'm telling you, they will never change unless you challenge the narrative that they have given out to the general public. And I'm saying that once you understand what the false narratives are, do you understand? Religious indoctrination, us fighting against each other. Do you understand? Like Muslims versus Christians, black versus white. These are false. Hold on. So it's a false narrative. So let me just explain so I'm very clear. I'm going to tell you how to challenge it. If the government, with all that we've been speaking about over the years, here's a question. Have they listened? Well, let me ask you a question. When we went on the march, and remember, I'm not political, I just saw, this doesn't look right. We went on the march when the government were attempting to go into another country and kill unpeople, the same way in which we are unpeople, the same way the victims in the Grenfell Tower were unpeople. They said they wanted to go in and slaughter innocent people, because this is what they are. Unless you've been to these countries, and I've just been lucky enough to come, I've traveled the entire Southeast Asia, and what has struck me most with all of my travels is the absolute normalcy of the people that you have met, not involved in politics, you understand, not involved in any of that, yet these people found them victims of a foreign policy that they had nothing to do with. 2 million people march. Did the government listen to them? Well, hold on. There must then have been lobbyists who were lobbying for war. Did the government listen to them? Then that tells you, absolutely. You've just made my point.
I know.
But you say you know.
That's what I was trying to say to you. How do you counter that
I'm
when
gonna
you
tell
don't
you.
have the money to?
I'm going to tell you.
You see your friend who just left?
I'm going to tell
That's
you.
what I was about to say to him. He said he went American, all this.
He did.
You have money to do that. In my area, they've closed everything.
Yeah, listen.
There's no community centres, there's no nothing. The youths on road, licking shots, getting that money.
Yeah, and I don't care about it.
Yeah, I know you don't care about it.
In the first instance, I don't.
You know when you don't care about something, it grows.
I said to you,
It
in the
grows
first
and grows
instance,
and grows. And you cannot put a
put
cap
your
on
emotion
something
to one side a minute.
later.
Put
It's
your
nothing to do with
one side.
emotion. It's
It is
nothing to do
emotion, because you said I don't care.
It's
That's an emotional
experiences.
statement.
No.
Listen,
it's not.
I said to you.
How can you tell me that?
I said to you, because I can only go by what you said. I've said to you that the way in which to deal with it, because most of these places where you say shut down and the youths are licking shot, they don't get to come to the head of the table based on their errant behavior. Don't you get it? Don't you get it? There are youngsters who are standing here right now, who have tried to take the right path and tried to have aspiration. Why would I not listen to them first rather than the youngsters that you're listening to?
Why did Theresa May win?
Listen, let me just
Because she didn't have enough people behind her, yeah?
Chris, let me just
So
say to
you think you're going to have enough people
Sir, let me
behind you
just
by
say
the
to you.
time what?
Now you see, you
By the
misunderstand.
time what? By the
I am
time all
not
these
here.
youths have influenced some 20 more other youths to do the same thing they're doing.
Listen, let me explain to you, because you
understand
wanted
my
the
point,
answer.
though?
I'm going to give you the answer.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the answer. You don't
wait,
understand.
I listened to you for about 10 minutes.
So you don't have to listen. It's Hyde
I
Park.
know, so
you
I'm
can go
speaking.
elsewhere.
So I'm speaking.
Yeah?
So you should
the
listen.
point is that I was having a
Right.
private conversation with my
I
friends.
know, and I
you
interrupted.
came in.
No,
you
I
came
said, can
in.
I ask you a question?
Yeah, and
you
you've
said
asked
yes.
it. The point that I'm
Right.
making, you've
Now-
asked a question. I'm going to answer it not for your
this
benefit,
Speaker's Corner?
but for everybody else's
But
benefit.
you want to control everything.
No, I
you
don't.
Just want to
You
talk
don't
for 10
have
minutes.
to.
I'm saying to
You
you,
don't have to listen.
Your objective, yeah, is okay, but I don't see it in the longevity going to outweigh what these kids are doing. Because these kids are going to influence another 20 kids to do what they're doing. Who are you going to influence to do what you're doing?
Let me tell you how it works. Yeah,
That's
because
my
you
question.
can't see it. Because you can't see it, it doesn't mean that it
Okay,
can't
I
be
can't
seen.
see it.
You can't see it. You've
Right.
just said you can't see it. You understand? I'm going to explain to you.
You know what?
I'm going to explain to you how this is
You're
done.
talking to me like I don't know anything.
Sir, put
No,
the emotion
in the
one
same
side.
kind of thing that you were
Put-
trying to mentor kids to be better than what they are.
But the
You get
first
me?
thing
No,
that
no.
you said
Let me explain something to you, and I'm going to be very clear. I'm going to be very clear because I don't like these emotional arguments.
That's the whole point. That's why he's saying to you, you keep saying that's never going to happen.
Right.
If you have that attitude,
Right. No,
it
no, no.
can't
It's
never
happen.
gonna happen.
Right. You have to
You
live in
have-
the real world, yeah?
Right.
And I see these kids, yeah? I don't see them talking about what he's talking about.
From two different angles.
Listen, look, let me finish. I told you, I do mentoring. I go and speak to these
same,
kids that
it's
want to
strange,
do this. But I'm telling you, the majority of them don't. They want to go out, get the rollie. They want to go and party, pop bottles. They want to live the life like Nines. They want to live the life like C-Biz. They don't care about what this guy's saying. You say that. In my area, listen. Right.
You're asking for
So
a
I'm
solution.
saying,
No, but if you're looking for a solution,
wait.
I have to say
Right,
not yet.
right. So I'm saying, my next question to him is, I see what you're trying to do, the longevity of it, but I'm saying, these guys who are doing this are going to influence more people than what you can.
Let me ask you a question. Yeah, you just said that you're 41. How long have you been mentoring kids?
3 years.
Let me just say this to you. I can remember 20 years ago, you understand that there were people with good intentions, just like yourself, who were saying the same thing. 10 years before that, I met people who, just like yourself, had good intentions and they're doing the same thing. 30 years later, absolute nothing has changed. In fact, listening to you, it's very clear that things have got worse than they were. So you agree with that?
Yes.
On the basis then that both you and I agree that the situation cannot remain the same, that there has to be some changes, in order so in 10 years from now, someone doesn't say they knew somebody who was like you, because things have changed a bit. Now, I'm telling you that I said to you, and let me just qualify what I said. When I said I don't care about them, it's clear that it's not a case of I don't care about them. What it is, I'm saying in the first instance, this is far bigger than them. Yeah, it's far bigger than you and I. I'm saying to you that when I gave you, well, I don't want to use the term options. That's a bad word down in Hyde Park at the moment. But when I gave you the three options, and I said to you that from my perspective, based entirely on what I have seen of this government, of the shadow government, and those who are behind that shadow government, they are here, in essence, to keep poor people, in their place. It's not just poor people. They're here to keep people who have a different view than them in their place. They are here to ensure that they will be able to take away anybody who will be able to challenge the status quo. And challenge the status quo, in effect, to change it from what it is into something which benefits the majority of people as opposed to the minority that it benefits at the moment. And no amount of diversion by what I call those architects of control. Because every time a disaster happens, these are the things that happen. They'll send out Simon Cowell and they'll send out some C-list celebrities. We're going to make a record. You understand? Then all of a sudden, you can go and use Chelsea Football Ground to do a concert. Do you understand? These are all architects of control, and that they are here to pacify you. They work on behalf of a government. The government works on behalf of lobbyists. The lobbyists work on behalf of that secret elite that controls these governments. Right. If we accept all of that, I am saying to you, how then do we get the ear of the government, because look, the Irish Republican Army was smaller numbers practically. If you look at all of West Belfast, if you look at all these people just here around here, that was the entirety. Let me just finish here. This was the entirety of the command and the operating structure of the IRA. I'm not advocating for the IRA. I'm merely looking at this from a sociological point of view and a political point of view. Yet they were able to bring the government to their knees. They had to release people from prison. You understand? They had to lobby the Queen. They had to lobby the Queen to change, to change law. Imagine that. And then those who had killed, Prince Charles's favorite uncle, Lord Mountbatten, they were there in the palace, shaking hands with Prince Charles. Hear how you change it. Bearing in mind that power concedes nothing without a relevant demand. Challenge their money. I'm going to tell you now, give me 20 more seconds and I'll stop. Challenge their money. Look at a bank, take down a bank, start a social media campaign and say, well, I'm going to say it again for those who didn't hear. Start a social media campaign. We're taking down Barclays, nobody. Speak to your parents, speak to your brethren, speak to your friends. Take down a bank. We're no longer banking with you because we know that you and your lobbyists have the ear of the government. Speak to your mother, speak to your father, yourselves. We no longer go to Sainsbury's. Cause a run on their share price. They'll come back and tell you, well, you don't understand. If you cause a run on the share price, it's going to affect pensions. We don't care. We don't care. We're here to get your ear. Speak to the youngsters. Say to the youngsters, we want to take out Nike. You understand? We're not purchasing their stuff. So the lobbyists, remember, this is not change you're going to see immediately. It doesn't work like that. But I'm saying to you, imagine you start that. Because listen, nobody has a magic wand. The kids that you're speaking about in your position, even if, do you realize this?
I'm going to give you an analogy.
Oh, let me just say one little thing. If this man today came up and he said, big bro, I'm going to give you 100 million. And I said, what am I supposed to do with 100 million? I want to disperse it into Newham amongst the worst of the youngsters that you've got. Do you know those youngsters' minds have gone so far that if you went back next week, they'd have convertible Bentleys and Rollies. Yeah, the money would be gone. You understand? Because it's their minds which are fertile, which have been taken over. Challenge the government.
Say one thing, because you've got the same problem I've got.
Okay.
Right. You've got it on a bigger scale, because you're challenging the government, who's got more money, more influence, and more everything than you've got. Yeah? So by the time you try and get to wherever you're going to get to, they're going to influence billions and millions of more people than you can, because they control the media, they control the music, yeah? The influence you're talking about is the media, and I see the change through the election today, what we had just a little while ago. The youngsters are the ones that only can change this, but their influence is not with what you're saying. Right, and I know you say you don't care. It matters.
It doesn't
because
matter in the
where are you going to get your
instance.
numbers from then?
Let me tell you the reason.
No, wait.
You've asked me, so I'll tell you.
Yeah, but you answer in a minute. You spoke for a long time.
So you keep saying that.
Yeah, but
You
this
sound
is
like
another
a
thing
woman
what I
when you
can't
do that.
see.
Just say it.
So who are you speaking to? The elder people like us?
No, I'm not speaking to you.
So then this is what I'm saying. The kids that I see and speak to don't care about the things that you're talking about
That's
right now.
fine.
Lobbying banks. You think they got time for that?
I didn't say lobbying banks.
All
I
right,
said
lobbying the
closing
government to
down
lobby the
towns.
banks. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. People join the gym. How long do they stay at the gym? Some people don't stay there all the time. Some people do. This is the same thing you're going to get with what you're doing.
No, it won't.
I'm telling you.
Let me just ask you.
What's going to be the big change?
Can I just show you something? Young man, how old are you? Pardon? How old are you? How old are you? How old are you? How old are you? Are you in a gang? Are you in a gang? Are you in a gang?
Like
are you in a
they're
gang?
in a gang.
No, hold on. I'm asking you. You're in a gang. That's who I'm
No
talking
one's
to.
going to say they're in a gang here.
Some kids would say they're in a
Come
Some
on,
kids would
come
say.
on.
I'm
Them
telling
kids
you,
are not here.
none of these
you know them
youngsters-
kids are not
Right,
here.
so they're not here.
Right, so why are they going to be here?
Why are they not here?
They're making money.
Okay, so why are these guys here?
You know what I mean? Come on, you're asking me stupid questions, bro. They're making money on
I'm
roads, fam.
astounded that he's working
That's why they're not
with children.
here.
You're
Seriously.
ignoring the ones that are here.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
astounded.
saying. Right.
I'm astounded.
You heard my...
He doesn't.
Right, yeah. Right. They will say they was in a gang. But the reason why you're not going to say you're in a gang, because obviously they're not here, they're making money, innit? They're going to be on road.
That's circular
What do you mean?
logic. That's circular
That don't
logic.
make
He's
sense.
told you he's not in a gang,
Alright,
and then you're going to say, but he wouldn't tell you if he was in a gang. That's circular logic.
All right. I take that back.
It's not like you're trying to push him to be in a gang.
No, I'm not trying to push no one to be in a gang. I would never do that. But what I'm saying is, you're not going to get that here because then people ain't going to be here. They're the ones you need to influence. Yeah, these guys can say they're doing well, they're doing this.
don't
They're
wanna
not
influence
going to have an
They
influence
didn't
on
say
the
that.
people.
Sorry, sir, they didn't say
All right,
that. All
I'm
I
not
asked
saying
them,
that.
were they in a gang? We don't know what their background is.
I'm
They
saying,
just said, no, they're not.
I'm saying,
Okay.
if they're doing well, they're not going to be with the ones who are not doing well.
We don't know
and they're
how-
not going to have an influence
So
on
let
them.
me just say this to you. Sometimes you equate doing well with finance. Sometimes
Right, let me
people
tell you why.
have. Sometimes people are underpinned by morality.
Circles are.
Yeah, people are
Moving in different
underpinned
circles.
by morality.
Yeah? Right. The people I'm talking about are the ones that carry knives. They don't care about stabbing you. These people are not like
I
that.
hate this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know them, but I'm
Seriously,
speculating
I
they're
really
not
don't.
like that. I'm talking about these people you need to change, yeah? These people you need to bring to the table. How are you going to do that?
How are you
That is
going to
my
do it?
question.
How are you going
I
to do it?
told
You
you,
work
what was
with
my
them.
first question?
You work with them. What are
was
you
my first
doing?
question?
You
How are we
work
gonna
with
stop
them.
the influence of music
Sir,
and influencing
I'm
our
asking,
younger
well, you
people?
tell me because you work with them.
Listen, I'm trying to. I'm trying to combat it with sports. I'm trying to combat it with.
And what's?
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, go ahead.
You're
brother.
talking about the artists, yeah? How are we going to get the youth to stop thinking the artists? Can you tell me how many conscious UK artists CDs that you
I
own?
wouldn't even know. But I know how many there ain't.
That's what I'm saying. So
I know how many there ain't.
That's why you're part of
And
the problem.
as you know, wait.
that how you look for your role
Wait.
models?
You know negative sells, innit? More than positive. Why ain't Common out there like everyone
I'm
else?
saying that the
He's
way
positive,
you
innit?
start-
No, but he's positive,
I'm
innit?
saying before you judge the music.
Is he positive?
I'm saying Common.
Is Common a positive
You could
artist?
perceive him as positive.
Is he mainstream?
Yeah, you could perceive him as mainstream.
Bruv, come on, stop
You could
lying.
perceive
Stop
him as
lying,
mainstream.
bruv.
Yes, you
He's
can.
more mainstream
Bruv,
than any
bruv.
mainstream
Is
artist
he
in the
current
UK.
Is he current now?
What's current?
Bruv, you know what I'm talking
Current
about.
what, Drake? You saying
Alright,
what, is
so
he
what are the
making
kids
lollipop
listening to?
music?
Are they listening to Common? Or are they listening to
There are kids that are
Nines?
listening to Common,
The people
bro.
who are current now.
That's what my point is.
Let's get to reality,
My main
innit?
po- my-
Let's get to reality.
My
innit?
main point is, that it's hard for you to talk about what the youth are listening to you if you're not one of the people that's supporting the people that are making the other sort of music. Because there's a lot of conscious artists and people want to say, oh, the youth are listening to Nines, but you don't support the ones who are doing the other things.
You can't say that.
I'm saying, I've asked you.
can't
That's the
say
first
that.
question I asked you.
You
How
don't
many
know who I
CDs do you
support.
own?
You don't know
I
some.
said, how many
Right,
conscious
listen,
artists
listen.
CDs
Listen,
that you're
listen.
talking about that the youth should be listening to, do you own?
Right.
Before they're gonna go and buy it,
Wait,
they've got to know
wait,
that you
wait.
buy it.
Now you're getting emotional. But let me just get to you.
I'm not emotional, you're my brother, it's all cool.
I work with artists like Jammer. You know who Jammer is?
I know Jammer, I work with Jammer.
All right. So
How about that?
yeah, I work with artists like Skepta.
Jammer's the word, yeah.
Skepta, we try and get them in so people can see that this is a way forward. This is constructive. This is how you get to places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all good.
But you're saying to me
These
these
men are
people
in
ain't
the system
positive.
as well, you know
Yeah,
that.
Thank you.
but this is the thing.
Thank you.
We work,
If you
we do
know
the same
anything
thing.
about the
Right.
music industry, is it fake? It is.
Can I just say to you?
It's
Can I
100%
just say
fake.
to you?
So
Can I just say
when
to
you
you?
look at the music industry, you can pretend to be someone you are, but in the back you're doing something else.
Yeah, but I'm saying that if you're
Now,
not supporting
wait.
the
The reason why I say this, the reason why I say this, the reason why I say this, because negativity sells. The guy saying I'll shoot you in the face, the guy saying I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll sell this, I sell that, I trap this, I trap that.
They're talking
They're
about
the
their
guys
surroundings.
who are people. Go and look at the views, bro. Go online, you see the views. They're
Go to their
insane.
community.
You think there are more negative young people than there are positive? Just out of
No, but
curiosity.
bro,
I couldn't say because I don't
can
know
say-
everyone.
you've got to
I
go
can
to the
say-
communities
I
and
don't know.
change
I-
their
I- I-
surroundings.
I can say
The
as well.
great
I
majority
speak
of
from where I
youngsters,
come from.
the great majority
Yeah?
of youngsters
Right.
are moral. The great majority of youngsters are moral, and the great majority of the
100%.
youngsters are decent. Yeah.
but that's new one
Look, can I just say to you?
but you're saying-
Can I
But
just
there's
say to you?
moral guys in
Can
Newham.
just
I
say
know
to you?
G's in Newham that are moral.
know,
You
I
understand,
know.
my brother Natty Asher from Newham, Plasto. Natty, he's a conscious artist. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't know about him.
Right.
All you've
I don't.
concentrated on is
I
the
don't.
negative,
I
and now
don't.
you're
Why don't I know about
imposing the
him?
negative.
Why don't I know
because
about
that's what
him?
you're concentrating
No,
on.
because he doesn't have the publicity.
No, because you're not looking out for him. You don't get onto your. You don't go and try and find these people.
Do you know what?
I know
Selling
publicity
stuff.
Can I just say to
So
you
if
very
you-
quickly,
if you
yeah,
work with
because
artists, you
this is
must
what we
know
were talking about.
about
We were
publicity.
speaking about, we were essentially speaking about the situation that presented itself at Grenfell Tower. Yeah, this is what we were speaking about. Whilst what this man is speaking about might have some credence, to the job that he does, I'm saying that this is a far wider picture than what we're speaking about. This is a far wider picture than what we're speaking about. Let me tell you what we're very clear about. We are clear that this is a government that does not care about poor people. I think everybody is very clear about what this government stands for. Yeah, this government does not stand for poor people. This government, we're very clear, stands and acts on behalf of the very wealthy. This is who they act on. This government is happy to burden youngsters with debt for 20 years, 25 years. They're happy to do so. Who benefits from that? Yeah, many Tory MPs, you understand, who are directors of companies. We know over 70 odd Tory MPs are landowners, you understand, own great swathes of land in this country. I'm asking you, why do the Tory party not care? And let's not be hypocrites. The Liberal Democrats kept them in power during the last election. They didn't seem to care either. They said they were not going to they were going to abolish tuition fees. They got into power. They decided to keep it as it is and in fact raise these fees. How then do you get the government to listen, to gain some traction with the government? Now look, I've only proposed three things. Three things. The reason why I propose these three things is because I know what this government and those who are behind the government are capable of. If we were to go today to physical confrontation with this government, we know that this government and those who control the government have a high propensity towards violence towards those who are not followers of the narrative that they have created. We know that they will unleash the maniacal forces of some within the Metropolitan Police, and now we have elements of the SAS on our streets in London. We know, just through looking at past history, that one of the things that this country is very good at, one of the reasons why they controlled 4/5 of this planet at one stage, is that they are very good at taking small groups of exceedingly violent men and putting these violent men all over the planet. There is a reason why you have the British West Indies, the French West Indies, the Dutch West Indies, these places. There is a reason why. There is a reason why Australia exists, why New Zealand exists. There's a reason why globalization has literally taken over the planet, where you can be in Thailand or Cambodia and all the concessions are owned by Starbucks or McDonald's and so on and so forth. We know who this country is, and we know the background of those who operate in the shadows of this country, and we know their ability to send violent people across the world. If they would do this across the world, irrespective of law, what do you think they will do to those of us who are in this country who wishes to challenge the status quo? You can feel that in yourself. What I would say is this: we want an engagement with them. In the first instance, you don't want war with the government, because you know that this government will use the mainstream media and everybody else to create a narrative whereby stupid people will call for revolutionaries' destruction in this country, even though the revolutionists are looking to also free you from the confines of a government that is totally amoral, completely amoral. This is a government who can see over 500 to 600 people, probably more, affected in a fire in the richest borough, perhaps in Europe, and the government can say, we'll give you 5 million in that borough, 5 million, which can just about buy, according to rightmove.co.uk, can barely buy you a two-bedroom apartment in North Kensington. It sounds funny, but it's actually the truth. So how then do we get this government to listen to us? The government will not listen to us primarily because under this so-called democratic system, the government really doesn't have to listen to us. It gives the impression once every 5 years that it listens, but in reality, it doesn't listen to us. So how, in the first instance, do you make them listen? We know the government won't listen. So what you do, you go after those who control the government. We know that corporations and major finance controls the governments. We know that as a statement of absolute fact. They need to be challenged. So, I repeat again, take down one of their banks, we don't bank with them. Yeah? Don't shop at one of their supermarkets. Get the youngsters to boycott one of their major sports retailers like Nike. That alone will send shockwaves around the world. Many people that have a very parochial look on what the world is. They don't understand now that the world is interconnected. From the point of view that what starts in the UK, actually has a position on everybody outside of the UK. You speak to anybody in the music industry, they'll say that if a record breaks in the UK, the chances are it will break in France, it will break in Holland, it will break in Germany, it will break all over. It's the same thing with political thought. It's the same thing with the style and so on and so forth that comes out from this country. And it works also politically. If we say that we're no longer shopping at Sainsbury's, we're no longer buying Nike, this will go around the world very, very quickly. And the one thing that they do not want the example of a good idea to gain any kind of traction at all, because it will force them to start to listen to the people who are fed up of them. The people in the Grenfell Tower have already died, and so demand should be made. You know, it cannot just be emotion. There are things that which should be said. The 5 million that you've offered is nowhere near enough if you're talking about rehousing people.
We've already raised about 2.5 million just from donations,
right. Yeah, but the thing is, where was the Red Cross? Where was everybody else? None of them were there. It was ordinary people. It was ordinary people who came to the aid of the victims of that disaster. What the government should have done, the government should have said that what we're going to do, we're going to put a minimum 50 million aside. We are going to ensure that the funerals are paid for. We're going to ensure that those who put that building in that particular position, that the directors, we will look at them and be seeking to bring corporate manslaughter charges against them. We should be asking the government to contact the banks to ensure that people who have lost all of their goods, in terms of banking and so on and so forth, banks should actually be presented down near that area. You get a desk and you put it down so people can go to that particular part in terms of bank, whether it's passports or so on. What the government has done in the first instance is nothing. The Kensington Council have done nothing. There is a searing arrogance that runs through the leadership of Kensington Council as if, how dare you challenge us? Well, we've seen that they're the emperor without any clothes. This is the reason why the people went into Kensington Town Hall, and they couldn't stop them. At any other time, they would have called the police and they would have called their security guards, and you wouldn't have been able to get in. But you had the groundswell of truly angry people who were angry for a very good reason, and they couldn't stop them. I'm saying that people should not take the metaphorical foot off of the neck of the local council or the government. People have got to keep the pressure up, because if anything, what this has taught us in this country is that we are not all equal. And for anybody who believes that we are equal, I would say this to you. Buckingham Palace at this moment is going through a 380 million refurbishment. We know that the cladding that was on this building, it was £23 a square metres. For an extra £2 to fireproof, you could have bought fireproof tiles for £25 a square metres. This saved, I think it was £6,196. That's what it saved. It saved. Let me ask you the question. If we are all equal and they are spending 380 odd million on Buckingham Palace, and this isn't anti the Queen, I'm one of them very odd people who actually believe in the idea of a monarchy, but not for the reasons that you think. But if you believe that we are all equal, let me ask you a question. If you answer yourself, no, I'm speaking generally.
Just for the camera.
I would ask you, do you believe that in the equality of all human beings? And if you do, I'm asking you, with the renovations which are taking place in Buckingham Palace at the moment, do you think that saving a paltry figure of £6,000, for a paltry figure of £6,000, that they wouldn't fireproof Buckingham Palace? Of course, some of you will laugh. It's ridiculous. That's exactly my point. It is ridiculous. But if you have a group of people who are on people you consider not worthy, people who are poor, remember, they're not uneducated people whose circumstances are poor. Because what corporations have done, they have sucked up
I've seen them on YouTube too.
in the economy, and they now control the economy with the acquiescence of politicians.
Got back around to it as well, still. You're talking about youth for a minute.
You
They came back around to it
right
still.
intelligent people in London. They can
you gotta go involved in that, yeah.
anywhere to live. They can
That's your field, innit?
decent food to eat. And then at the end of it, the narrative that has been created by the media is so powerful that when the government, through us, gives these people, some who are unemployed, a measly £75 for every couple of weeks, we turn around to these people and say that they're disgusted and they're scroungers, and then you think that you've got a sane mind? Do you understand? You think that's your faults, or do you think that those faults have been given to you? Those faults have been given to you. Those are not your faults, because we now sit in the fourth or fifth richest country on the planet. Let me ask you something. What does that mean to the survivors of the Grenfell Towers? Right now, it means very, very little. When you say, well, we might have a 1% drop in inflation, we understand the financial ramifications of that, but what about the people who are not invested in the system through no fault of their own? This government makes clear that some of us are worthy and some of us are not worthy. Some of us are people, and like George Orwell said, some of us are unpeople. I think it's time for the unpeople to start raising their voices, not in an emotional way, but start to ask piercing questions and start taking piercing action against a government that is indifferent to us all. That's my view.
I don't believe any of that shit. I don't believe